Hello, everyone. It's so beautiful to see all these faces on here. Look at this. First team call of 2016. How awesome that everybody is on this call right now because it means you're starting your year off right. And what better way to do it than with Miss B or Miss Bianca, as everybody else knows her, talking about time management and how to really focus in on that so that you can achieve your goals from 2016. Because if you don't start now, you're going to come up to your goals towards the end of the year and they're not going to be met and you're going to be like, what happened? And I just have to say, look at that tiny little pregnant belly with teeth. So it's very important. Bianca has come to me a couple weeks ago, right? And we were talking about one of the things that she has a passion for, which is being busy, but also knowing how to manage her time. And she wants to share that with the world. So she created a like page about it. As a busy mom, if you don't know her, she's a 3-star diamond coach. She is a mom of 3, one of which just turned 1, and a teenager. So that's a handful in itself on the opposite end of it. She is a full-time RN and a full-time flight attendant, pretty much, right? Plus a wife and a mom and a Beachbody coach. So if she knows how to manage her time, to the point where she can build this business to 3-star last year, her goals this year are a lot higher, then she can teach it to all of you. So without further ado, I'm going to let her jump right in because she did say that she's a talker. So I don't want to keep you guys too late. But here is Miss Bianca when she's ready.
I'm just telling Shane to take the girls so you guys don't hear babies screaming in the background.
No problem.
So I'm going to share a screen. I made a PowerPoint, and it's nothing fancy, but it's just I can't focus if I don't have a screen. I'm ADD. So yeah, thanks, Gailey. So that's me. That's my story. I live in Florida, and I know Kaylee through Kristen because Kristen Richards is my upline. And I started a business kind of like a discount coach. Well, not just, yeah, I was kind of forced to work the business. Kristen made me go Emerald and then made me go Diamond. And I had no idea what Diamond was. And I just did it because I wanted to go hang out with her in a retreat. So pretty much that's my story. I had like no expectations of working the business. Like Ellie said, I'm a full-time nurse and I am also a full-time flight attendant. And I really I wish I could say I want to quit my jobs, but I don't. I really love both my jobs. And so I didn't, thankfully we live pretty comfortably and I didn't need the money. So it was kind of like one of those things I really had to dig and find my why. And it wasn't until I started seeing like the positive feedback from my challengers and people that I was signing up that it really the bug bit me, and I was like, well, I really love this. Like, I don't care about the money. I don't care about the rank, but I really like to help people. And so that's kind of like how I ended up growing the business. And it was back in January last year that I really took this business seriously. And I made it, I set business hours and that's when I was like, well, I have a lot going on in my life. If I don't manage this time management thing, if I don't get this down, this is just not going to happen. Because I really am super busy. So one of the things I'm big into personal development. So what I started doing was I started listening to a lot of podcasts. I got a lot of personal development books. I did whatever kind of training I could on time management because I really wanted to, get this down. I love to study. So you give me something that I need to be good at, I need to perfect, and I go back and I study as much as I can. So I guess you could say I'm a little bit of a time management queen because I'm really passionate about it because I read so much, I studied so much, I got pretty good at it. So one thing that I'll say is I'll start by saying this: until we can manage time, we can't manage nothing else. So when I decided that I was going to make this business work, I realized that if I didn't do this, if I didn't get a system, an organization, the time management skills, if I didn't have this down, it wasn't going to move forward. So that's what I did. So to me, time is an illusion. We think that we don't have time and we tell ourselves that we don't have time. And I even think that like the media makes us think that we don't have time. There's like all these things. Oh, you don't have time, so eat these like pre-made meals, and they tell us we don't have time. So we could buy into it, and we're like, okay, we really don't have time. But when you break it down, and I actually took the time and broke it down for you guys. I did this math. I don't know how accurate it is because I'm not a math person, but this is pretty much what I came up with. This is the chart that I came up with today. So in an average week, we have, in a week, we have 168 hours, right? If you calculate it. What I saw was that if you work a 40-hour job, you're spending, that's 23.8% of your time. You sleep 8 hours a night. Let's assume that you're getting 8 hours of sleep a night, because I don't know who does that, but let's assume that you do. That is 33.3% of your time. And if you put in shower, and I put shower and get ready, I put an hour and a half for that if you're going to work, right? So I shower in half an hour, get ready in an hour. So let's say you take an hour and a half to do that. To eat and prepare your meals, it'll take an hour and a half a day. So most people just grab breakfast on the go and eat lunch at work. So I didn't calculate those, but an hour and a half for dinner, because it takes about, half an hour, 45 minutes for us to get dinner ready and to sit down and actually have the meal. So I put in another hour and a half for that. And then you commute back and forth to work, probably half an hour. That's mine. So that's what I average you guys at. So let's say you commute 7 hours a week. You still have 26.4% of your time free. So that's a total of 40 hours that you have a week that's completely free, unaccounted for, that you have no, if I ask you, what do you do at that time? You're probably going to be like, well, I don't know. So you can even factor in, let's say your kids do sports activities, whatever it is. Even if you spend another 5 hours with that, that's still 35 hours. So you do have time. You just don't use it well. So you don't know that it's there, because it's just, it's like I said, an illusion. You think you don't have time. So you're always rushed. You're always, you don't concentrate. You don't take your time to do things the right way, because you feel rushed. So that's like how we feel on a daily basis. So we create that illusion that we don't have the time, but you really do. So I love this. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. If someone else seems to be accomplishing more than you, then they're sacrificing more than you. I believe this 100% wholeheartedly, because we look at these like top coaches and we're like, okay, well, how do they do it? How does Mel hit like 15 star in her third CBC, and how does she find the time to do that? And I can't find the time to do it. So like, she has the same 24 hours in a day. And yeah, Mel and I, we actually on the same kind of schedule, because she wakes up at like 5 a.m. just like I do. So, but she doesn't have an extra hour in there somewhere to do more than I do. So basically we have the same amount of time. So if she does more with her time, just means that she's managing it better, right? And we all have to make sacrifices. Like I gave up, last January, I gave up TV. I gave up doing a lot of things like night outs with my girlfriends. That was a decision that I made because I wanted to make my business go forward. You can't go forward if you're not willing to sacrifice anything. If you're going to continue doing the things the same way, but you want a different result, then you're just crazy. Like you have to give something up in order to get something else. Like there's an exchange that has to happen there. If you're not sacrificing, you're really not going to reap the benefits. So like we look at Mel and we're like, okay, well, how does she do it? It all comes down to a system. And this was something that I realized early in the business. Back in January when I started time management, if you research time management, all that you're going to come up with, or the thing that you're going to see the most, is systems. So what is a system? A system, basically, like to put it in like simple terms, it's just something, it's a way of doing something that works for you. So we all have systems, right? We all, like, you have your way that you get in the shower, like how you work out and you get in the shower, and how you put on your makeup, and that order and how you do things. That's how it works for you. That's your system. It may work for someone else, it may not, but it's your system. So we all have these little things that we do consistently on a daily basis. And we may not realize that that's our system, but that's our way of doing things that really, really works and makes it time effective. So the same thing, it shortens the road to the goal. So the first thing you're going to do is also is to come up with a goal, right? And in order to get to your goal, you're going to have to come up with a system that works. And if, like I said, going back to like time management, and if you look into network marketing and, what we do, you're going to realize that the key to being successful is really being able to duplicate that system. So it's not like you can't take the time to invest on like creating a system that works for you, because that's really what you're going to need going forward. So it doesn't matter where you are in your business. Like what I'm teaching you guys now, what I'm talking to you, I teach my coaches. And there's no secret. It's just the way it works for me. And you're going to take from different people, and you're going to learn in a way where you're going to create your own system. You know, what works for me, like I'm a pen and paper all the way. Like this is how I work my business. And my success partner, he doesn't know how to do this. Like she tried, and it just confused her. She goes on Asana and she schedules everything there. That's how she has her contact list. So even though we passed it back and forth, my system doesn't work for her, and her system doesn't work for me. So you're going to take from different coaches, and that's where it's important for you to create your own system, because you're going to be able to add something of value to your coaching. So I'm going to go back and look through like where I was and what kind of system I used in each like time in my business. So when I was a new coach, like I told you guys, I was very, very busy, and I didn't have time for much. So I worked a full-time, like 12-hour shifts at the hospital. That's a day where it's like dead to your business. For one, I can't be on my phone when I'm at the hospital. And I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to work out. And I leave my house by 5:30, and our shift starts at 6:24. I don't get home until 8:30. So that's like a dead day. As far as like Beachbody goes, I can't do anything. So the only thing that I could do was come up with a small, like a short power hour that I could actually get in throughout the day. And what did that look like for me? So each person, depending on how much time you have available and what your goals are, you're going to have a different power hour. It's going to look different. We all have the 3 vital behaviors, and it should be in there somewhere, right? In your power hour, that's what you should be doing. But this is what it looked like for me when I was working full-time, both jobs with a baby. Because when I first started, I had like a little tiny, Valentina was 2 months old. So we're looking at the bare minimum. So what did I do? I checked my back office. I made sure I went in there and I looked at any new orders, any new coaches, any person that signed up, anything that I needed to be aware of. I checked my alerts. That's quick. That takes like 5 minutes. So that's what I did as far as going to the back office. But I never, ever, ever started my day without checking my downline. I think that's a habit that everybody should get into, like a habit of doing. Then I would check my messages and do my invites. Actually, to be honest with you guys, I ignore my messages until I do my invites. So what I do is I work from a list. So in the beginning of the month, this is not my notebook, but in the beginning of the month, I create a list with 50 names. And I just go through my friends list, and I take notice of people this list is always by me. So if I notice a name always coming up, liking my pictures, I write that name down. And then, it just builds from there. And then at the end, before the month begins, I sit down with that list, whatever names I already have on there, great. And then if I don't have 50, I go through my friends list and I see people who I have not invited yet. And I add those people to my list. And so when I start my day, after I've checked my back office, I go to that list. If I'm doing the bare minimum, which was what I did when I was a new coach, I would invite 3 people off that list. And I would check their names once they were invited. And then I would go and look at my messages and my notifications. And, I would follow up with people in that order. But I didn't do anything until I sent my invites, because I'm going to be honest with you guys, I hate inviting. I hate sending people messages. I don't like it. I'm honest with you. And if I put that off, that was like something that was not going to get done, because I'm like a huge procrastinator. So I would like busy myself with other
my
things
yellow notebook
and not get my invites in. So the other thing that I would do is definitely check in all the groups. And this was important for me to do, like on a separate, like I had to learn not to go into Facebook and look at notifications to check my groups. So what I did was I downloaded a Facebook group app. If you guys never heard of it, it's like you can just go onto apps and then download the Facebook groups. And all you do is you list your groups in there, and you can put them in order and arrange, in the order that you want to see them. So I would check my team page. I would check, any coach training that I was doing or anything like that. I would check those first. Then I would check in all my groups. I would definitely I'm a huge personal development person, so I never missed that. I would do that on the way to work, usually just listening to it. And then my posts, I would pre-schedule them. So I, because I couldn't do them from work. So I would I would go on buffer and set something for lunchtime, because I could do my one post before I went to work. Then lunchtime, I would get something in on buffer. And then when I was leaving work, I would set another one. And I just, the thing with being a new coach and doing these things is that you have to trust the process. You have to be consistent, because it's not going to look like it's paying off. It's going to feel like you're doing these things and it's not doing anything for you. But that consistency, that's the compound effect, just working for you. So you have to just stay consistent. Then I became an active coach, and I was still working full time. And this is where most of my coaches are. So this is what I talk to them mostly about. The first thing is you have to set SMART goals. It's going to go, your time management is definitely going to go according to your goals. So if you want to be emerald, you're going to set a SMART goal. You're going to say by what day you want to be emerald. And again, this goes back to time is an illusion, because if you say you want to be emerald and you say, well, I want to be emerald by June. Yeah, you can do it by then. But if you say you want to do it by next week, you can also do it. Same thing goes for diamond. If you say I want to go diamond in 60 days, you're going to go diamond in 60 days. But if you say you want to do it in 15 days, you're going to do it. It's an illusion. It's in your head. Obviously, it should be realistic. You can't do diamond in one day. But, shorten it. There's nothing wrong. Like, if you set a goal and that date comes and you didn't miss it, I guarantee you, if you were pushing really hard, you're going to be really close to that goal, and it's going to shorten the time. So, like I said, it's an illusion. So set the time. Make sure that, if you guys don't know what SMART goals are, you can Google that. But it should be measurable. It should be attainable. It should be relevant and time bound. You have to put a time on it. And then try to master one area at a time. Don't try to focus on everything. So if you want to be diamond, your focus is going to be on recruiting. So if diamond is your goal, you have to focus on recruiting. That's where you should spend most of your time. That's where most of your PD is going to come from. That's what you're going to be mostly talking about on Facebook. That's what you should be reading on. That's what you should talk, like reading and talking is recruiting. You can be thinking about a million other things, but that's not your focus. That doesn't go with your goal. So you need to focus on one area at a time. Like, I know that right now, like, I'm shooting for elite. So I know that I need to concentrate on leadership. So that's where my goal is. That's where I'm concentrating most of my time. That's time management for you guys, because I can be thinking about a million other things, but I'm focused. So that's making me spend my time well. Find ways to couple activities. I love doing this. So if you're folding laundry, be listening to your PD. This is what I tell my full-time working coaches all the time. You can do multiple things. Like, I have these headbuds in and I'm listening to my PD. I'm drying my hair. You can always couple two things, that like a physical activity and something that you can concentrate on. So something that requires thinking, you can be doing something physical at the same time. Now, what you can't do, and when people think that I can multitask and you can't do 10 things at once. You can't talk to somebody on your messenger and respond to your kids and listen to your PD at the same time. That all requires focus. You're not really doing anything well if you're doing 3 things at the same time. But if you're folding laundry and listening, or if you're like, I set times to talk to challengers or people that want to sign up. So on the way to work, so I'm commuting and I'm talking to them on the phone. Like, I know what time I leave work or what time I go to work. I use the voice system on my phone to leave messages when I can't type them, so you have to be smart about things like that. Like, identify the areas where it's like idle time for you that you could use in a different way. Sorry. You make videos and blogs and scripts. Okay, so this I can't stress enough. This is huge. So back in, I want to say it was January or February last year. It's bedtime. I made videos about the 21-day fix, the 3-day refresh, whatever program, max 30. I would open the box, go through what's inside of it, talk about it like the minute it got home to my house. So say I ordered the 21-day fix extreme, opened it up, I made a video, I talked about it, this is what comes with it, this is what you do in the group, and blah, blah, blah. They're like short 5-minute videos. I always do this with every program. I did one for Hammer too. So that when people message me and I'm talking to them and I'm inviting, they're interested in the 21-day fix extreme, I don't have to go to Beachbody or YouTube to look for a video. I send my own. This saves me so much time. Like, people know, and they hear from me, they connect with me. So I cannot stress this enough. Go back, open your boxes, make videos, because this is going to save you time for everything. If you get the same question over and over from your coaches, you keep hearing that same question, go and make a video about it, because the next coach is going to have that question too. And that's time management for you. Like, hold on, I have a video for that. And you go and keep them organized so that you know where they are. And then you send it to them. It's that easy. That saves you so much time going back and forth on Facebook Messenger. That, like, I can't even stress it enough. Like, if there's nothing that you take from this call, just take that. Go and make videos about everything that people ask you about all the time. What is a challenge group? What's a discount coach? What's the difference between the coaches? Like, go back and just make videos. Set a time each day. For, like every Wednesday at 3 o'clock, you're going to make videos. You're going to put your makeup on. Actually, I do it after church because I know I already have my makeup on. So that's time management for you right there. I come back from church and I record like 3-4 videos or whatever topics are that week. And they're all on my YouTube so that I unpublish them so that, you know, whatever goes according to whatever person's asking me, I can just send them the video. It really saves me a lot of time.
Bianca.
I don't blog. Yeah.
I just want to interrupt for a minute. The person on the phone, I don't know who it is, but could you just mute yourself? That'd be awesome. There's only one person on a phone call.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. If you could just hit mute, that'd be awesome.
All right.
Thanks,
so some people do it through blogs. Some people do it through scripts. You know, it doesn't matter. Whatever it, like I said, the system has to be something that works for you. Stay consistent. That's huge. I said that in the first, so I hope you guys are catching a theme here, but you have to stay consistent. You can't do something for 1 month and say, oh, it's not working, I'm going to move on and do something else. You really, really have to like try it out for a long time before it picks up and it really becomes a system. Like doing something for, I'm going to do this and then do it for like a couple weeks and be like, no, and I don't do it anymore. It really isn't a system. You were just trying something out and it didn't work. So whatever it is, if it's, you know, you got to give it time and stay consistent with it to make sure that it doesn't work before you move on. Stay connected to your why so you don't lose your vision. I put like little bits there at the end so you guys know where you are in your business. This is where it kind of feels like that you're putting in a whole lot of work for not very much return. So doing these things, it just the system creation part of this business, I would say was the hardest time for me, because coming up with these things and just getting organized was very difficult for me because, like I said, I'm ADD. I'm not a very organized person, and it was against my nature to do this. So it felt like I was working like a really big full-time job and not getting much in return. But now that I am where I am and I can actually utilize this system, it makes sense that I put in that much time, because now I am it's effective. So you have to kind of keep your focus, don't lose your vision, and just hang in there. It does feel like you're putting in a lot of work, and you probably are, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel. There's a reason why you're doing this and why you're spending your time that way, and it will pay off in the end. So full-time coach, that's what I do now. Now I don't, I work per diem at the hospital. So I work when I want and I drop all my trips. So I also get to fly when I want, which is my life by design. That's what I wanted. I don't want to give up either job, but I don't want to do either of them for income either. So this is exactly where I am, is where I wanted to be. So I work my business full-time and I love it. So I set business hours for myself. I have a system where I know that I need to get my power hour in before my girls are up, because if I don't do it then the house turns into chaos and I don't get to start my business, working on my business until like 9, 10 a.m. And that's if the baby cooperates, because I keep the baby with me. So I get up early. We were talking about that earlier. I get up at 5 a.m. I do my workout. I do my posts. I do my personal development. And I do my power hour. And this is all before the girls are up. The girls are up at 7:30. Well, they're up at 6:30, but my husband has them until 7:30. So 7:30 is when I have to be done. So from 5 to 7:30, I get in most of my work at that time. So I don't know what your life looks like, but if that's not realistic for you, then you need to find where is that time. And, one thing is, I listened to a Charlene podcast. I don't know if you guys listen to Charlene, but she's awesome, especially with time management. she did a podcast on how she talked about how you need to find what your your prime time is. Like there's a time for you that's specific to you where you operate your best. So for me, my brain power is at its best right after I work out, and like that's where I think most clearly. That's where my ideas come to me. That's where I just operate at my best there. So she talked about not wasting that time doing something that doesn't match up with your goals. So if that's my best time, I could spend that time doing something else, folding laundry and doing all the things in the house that I want to do, that I feel like I should do, because laundry is like my ghost. Like if there's laundry, I feel like nothing else can be done. Like I have to fold the laundry before, you know what I mean? So I would do that before. And after I listened to this podcast, it just made sense. I'm like, well, I'm wasting like my prime time folding laundry. Like really? Like who needs to fold the laundry can wait. I'm going to focus on my business on the time where I'm like, my brain is at its best. And I'm going to put in that focus time where there's no distractions. My kids are asleep. There's no noise. My phone is off. Nobody's messaging me. It's not buzzing. The TV's off. Everything's perfect. So that's my focus time. Those 2.5 hours are like gold for me. So don't mess with me. Don't call me at that. I'm just kidding. So the other thing is to outsource. So I know that I have to keep on growing my cold market. So this is just an example. I started Instagrass because I was trying to grow my Instagram on my own and get my own followers, and it wasn't happening. So I invested $25 on Instagrass, and it's growing my account. I don't know how well it's going to do, but little things like that, you guys, there's Elance, there's lots of like resources that you can go out there and outsource for your business. You just got to know what your focus is, what you really need to be doing, your goals, and then go and utilize, whatever, invest time into your business, because you can't make money without spending money. And my financial advisor husband always tells me that. So invest some money. And you may not have $50 to invest or $25, but even if it's $5, you can do Instagram for that. Or if it's boosting an ad, just take some portion of your money and invest in your business, because it really needs it. Delegate what can be delegated. This is huge for me because I'm a perfectionist, and I like my challenge groups. I'm so protective over it. I'm like, don't be posting this. And like, I'm a little weird about that. So it took a lot of me to start delegating in my challenge groups and realize that people weren't going to do it like me. And it wasn't going to be perfect, but it's just not perfect in my world. Like nobody cares. It's just because I think that, it can't be good if I'm not doing it. And that's like an internal thing. It's just like with my husband. He bathes the kids. Yeah, he doesn't do it like I do. Like he's probably not going to wash behind their ears, but who cares? The kids are bathed. Nobody died. You need to like think the same way with your business. Like, is it really that serious if somebody makes a post that you don't like on, like, it's not, let it go. It's not, in the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't matter. So delegate, even because your team's going to need it. They're going to need that training. They're going to, like, I can't baby my coaches forever. They can't be under my challenge groups, under my wings forever. They have to go and learn how to run their own challenge groups, and they're going to be different from mine, and that's okay. So the other thing and this is something I'm learning now, focus on your team, because, if you forget a little bit about yourself and just kind of put your focus on what your team needs, you're managing your time well. Because even though it feels like you're not spending time in your business, you really are, because your team is your business. So if they're moving forward, you're going to move forward. It's like not rocket science. Laser focus on tasks. I talked about that before. Just, make sure the distractions are gone. It's, there's something to be said about having the phone nearby. Even when it's on silent, my phone's always on silent. But if it shines a bright light and I know somebody's messaging me, I have to make the conscious decision of where I am. Like, can I stop and go answer that? Or is it important? Or is like this call more important right now where I can't go answer that? Like, even though I'm not going to go answer my phone, it's taking brain activity for me to just make that thought process, just like, okay, to make that decision. Whether it's an important decision or not, you're still investing time in it, and you don't need that. So if the phone is in another room, you don't have that, If the TV's off, you don't have that. The doorbell, if the phone's off the hook, like little things like that. One thing that I'm doing, for example, is getting somebody to watch my girls during the day, because even though I love having them here, it's I can't work and do it at the same time. So I'm investing on having somebody come in the house and play with them for 2-3 hours so that I can get some focused time in. So, maybe something that if you're a full-time coach and you're working from home and you really don't see your time being as effective as you'd like, maybe you just need that 2 or 3 hours to focus, pay a college kid or something minimum wage so that you can do this, because it goes with your goals. Like I have big goals for this year. If I don't make the sacrifices, it's not going to happen. So you got to think, what are your goals and what are you willing to sacrifice for that? I talk about the distractions and just stay consistent with the vital behaviors. I think that's really important when you get to a certain level in your business and you're doing all these things. And the more you do, the more it accumulates. And when you own your own business, there's always going to be things that you can do. Like you're never going to be sitting here, oh, well, finished it all. I'm good. I can go, you're never going to feel like that. You're always going to feel like there's something else that you could be doing, that you should be doing. So don't get overwhelmed with all the things that you should, and just stay consistent with the vital behaviors. Don't forget to do your personal development. That's huge. I see a lot I'm just going to say, I see a lot of these coaches that are like way up there that are not doing personal development. You just know it. I smell it from far away. Like I know when my coaches are not doing personal development. I just know it. So, don't drop on any of those. Stay consistent with your posting, take care of yourself. Sometimes that's another thing. Like people forget to be a product of the product. You can't just not prove that these products work. Nobody's going to believe you. You may, be trying to say it, but if you don't radiate it, if you're not excited, like I'm super pumped about Hammer and Chisel right now, like my results are awesome. And I know that's going to translate into my business. Because when I'm not very good with my eating, when I'm not very good with my workouts, it translates and I see my business drop. So stay consistent with the vital behaviors and just hang in there. That's it. That's all I got. Is that good? Does anybody have any questions?
That was awesome. We can open it up to questions. I took some notes. Things that I want to touch on. Does anybody have any questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
So something that I struggle with often is you mentioned just a minute ago about how you have to make a conscious effort to stay focused on your task. And when the message comes up, somebody's messaging you and you have to decide if you're going to answer that message or not. I'm just starting, really. I'm Emerald, and I feel like I have to be available constantly. And so like I realized today actually was my first day using the Revelation Fitness Coach Tracker stuff. I did the whole page, and it was really great because I realized as I'm looking at it now, there's so much that I missed out on because I'll get a message and I'm like, oh, and so I stop and I go take care of that. And then, Cooper, who's home with me, he's 3, is like, Mommy, I want this. And I'm like, okay. So we go over here and then I'm like, oh, I forgot what I was doing. And then I go back to the, my action plan. And then I get another message. Do you recommend like really putting them all off until certain time that you decide? Or, because I feel like I'm like treading water, not getting anything done.
I hear you. I think I used to do the same thing. I don't think I know I used to do the same thing. I felt like if I didn't answer, they were going to go away and like find the next coach. And then
right, yeah.
Going to miss out. So somebody used an analogy once that like really stuck with me. So if let's say you're at a mall and you walk like past the store and you see this like really cool dress, let's say it's a red dress and you love it and it's going to look perfect on you and you want it really bad. And you're like, well, I don't have the money right now. Let me come back and I'm going to get it. You go back and the store's closed. What are you going to do? Just give up on the dress and go find another red dress? No, you're going to go back, right? You're going to wait until the store opens up and you're going to go get the red dress. So I feel like the challenger that you want, the person that's really committed and that really wants to do this, they're going to be there. So you don't have to be a short order cook. You don't have to be like right there at the time that they message you. No, if they really want to do this, they're going to wait. Now, do I ignore messages all day? No, not at all. So I focus my time and I'm like, I send all my invites. And normally when I send my invites, it's like early in the morning, nobody sees them. So that's another reason why I like that power hour that early, because I get like a little break until I respond. Because if you're doing your power hour at like, let's say you're doing it at noon or 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and everybody messages you at the same time, one, you're not going to be able to focus on any one person at the same time. And then two, you're just going to be on your phone the whole day. You're not going to really accomplish anything else. So I'd rather just, I set times. So say I sent out the invites in the morning and somebody says, yes, I'm interested. Let me know more about it. My response is, when is a good time for us to chat? If I can, I get on the phone. And I hate talking on the phone with people. I hate it. I hate it with the passion. But I'd rather do it because I'll tell you, it will take you 5 minutes to close with somebody on the phone, and it will take you 2 hours to do it over Facebook. Because they do the same thing you do. Their son comes up, and they like put it down, and then they go somewhere else. And then you're sitting there going, oh my God, did I say something wrong? They're not gonna, you know what? No. And then you're like questioning, should I message them back? And then that follow-up is like killer, and you just spend time thinking about it, So if you can, just say, when can you chat? When do you have like 10 minutes so we can chat? And then, when they answer, I say, okay, would you prefer to talk on the phone, or, would you rather talk via chat, via Messenger? And whatever they answer, that's what I go with. Some people like to get on the phone. I even do Skype sometimes. I even do Zoom. Like, oh yeah, can we get to face? Can you, So whatever works, you just find out what works for them, because that's what's going to make you effective.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Okay, I don't want to keep you too long. I took some notes. I was going, like, you basically, said what I would have said if that question was proposed to me, because back when Nate Farnsworth was with corporate and I was talking with him, he gave me that analogy of pretty much treating your business, this business that you own, as a brick and mortar business, as if you had to leave your house every day and you had work hours in the office that you had to check in for. And he said the same thing. He said, because I think every single coach, any coach on here, diamond or above, that has been through this, process, can tell you that they have all felt like they needed to be there at every beck and call, that they get a message. So you're not alone. But he used that analogy because I came to him with one of those problems where I felt like I had to be there all the time. And he said to me, if you went to a store and they were closed, would you never return? And I said, well, no, that would be stupid. Like, let's use Target for an example. Who would never go back to Target if they were closed? So that's the same thing. Like, if you start treating your business, as a brick and mortar, as if you had to leave your house every day to go to those set business hours. And if you follow Noelle, because you just said that you started that coach tracker, on there it says, do this before you check your messages. Like, that whole list, it says do all of this before you even check your messages. So it's like laid out for you right then and there that, hey, you get a message, minimize it and come back to it. They're not going to leave. So, and if they do, it means they weren't going to stick with the program anyway, honestly. Or shake out. So, okay.
It never happened.
Yeah.
They're always there. They're there.
Yep. So Bianca had said something that made me think of autumn. So if you're doing Hammer and Chisel, she actually says this in one of the programs. But Bianca was talking about, if you have goals and you're not doing anything to change what you did from last year, you're not going to meet your goals, right? So same thing that Autumn says in Hammer and Chisel, you can't move if your feet are staying still, right? So whatever you did last year to get you to, or whatever you did yesterday to get you to today, is not going to get you to tomorrow. So you need to figure out what it is that you are lacking on, and that you lacked on for 2015, why you didn't reach your goals, what the reasons were, and fix it so that you can do it this year. So you got to move those feet. Okay, and then Bianca had said something, said something about that you're putting in all this work and it may seem like it's not paying off, right? How many times have you done so well? You're like, oh my gosh, I did so well today. And then you still ended with Success Club 0 or whatever. We all go through it. We all put in a ton of work in our business. The rule of thumb is whatever you put in now, or let's say the month of January, whatever extra things that you do or new things that you implement, you won't see anything good or bad for about 2 months after. So that's kind of like, you're not going to see it right here, but if you are in cahoots with your upline and you guys agree on what you're working on, and and your upline agrees that it's going to move your business forward just to keep with it, you're going to have to do it consistently for 2 to 3 months before you start seeing, a change and a positive growth in the system. So just remember that. Just because it didn't pay off this month because you started it this month, if you continue it 2 months from now, you'll see a huge reward. And then she was talking about investing in your business. If you're going to Super Saturday in Pittsburgh and you're going to the training, I'm going to talk a little bit about this with Melanie during my my speech. But I did want to talk to you, just say this, that the rule of thumb for that I follow is from my personal development crush, Darren Hardy. And it came from his mentor, Jim Rohn, where you invest into your business 10% of what your business gives you. So if you make $100, $10 of that is going back into your business, whether it's with personal development books or a training that you want to do, or something that you're going to invest. So basically what I've done for the year, based off of what I've made last year, I'm going to start putting aside 10% of what I made last year, right? So now if I want to do bigger things, I know, okay, this is my spending limit. So if I wanted to go see John C. Maxwell at like an event, I know, okay, I have this allotted money set aside, right, to go do that, to invest back into my business. So I'm not telling you that in the beginning as a brand new coach or an emerald coach or even a diamond coach is still getting your feet wet to invest 10%. But if your business is giving you $100, you should invest that 10% back into it, because that 10% is going to give you another $500. Like, I'm telling you, investing in your business is the best thing that I've done. And I could talk about what I'm going to talk about on Saturday on our next team call, but I have the numbers that show like what it has done for me over the past year. So that's just something to think about. And then the last one was Bianca loves her personal development. So if you have any questions or you're stuck on where to go for personal development, there is a large list in Revelation Fitness file section. Start there. But I do suggest Entrepreneur Roller Coaster, especially if you're a brand new coach, because it literally lays out what you're going to experience coming into owning your own business, and literally the roller coaster ride of being a CEO in a multi-level marketing company. So I highly suggest that one, because he really doesn't leave any stone unturned as far as what you may have come across, which is pretty good. And that's by Darren Hardy, obviously. So that's what I took away, and that's what I wanted to add in. And Bianca, that was amazing. Can't wait for other people to hear the recording. So thank you. Does anybody have any other questions that you thought of while I was talking? No? Okay. So this will be posted in Revelation Fitness, hopefully by the end of tonight. And if you guys have any questions, you can comment, tag Bianca, send her a message, whatever. And we'll go from there. But thank you so much. It was awesome. You rock.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thanks for doing it. Have a good night, everyone.
See you on the cruise, girly.
Yay! Yes. See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.